Well, I learned to play trumpet when I was 7 years old, so I was all through the public school system. I played trumpet for about 12 years, so I had some of that under my belt, and also the experience of playing in a large ensemble. It was the concert band, so I played like fourth trumpet or something. I also played baritone horn in the orchestra, and occasionally they would be short on tubas. And I wasn't the best trumpet player, so they'd kind of shove me over into the tuba section. So I get to play tuba, which I found it to be a total blast, you know.
So what made you switch then to be a bass player?
Well, I saw this band at a dance, and I just got mesmerized by the electric bass, and I just thought, wow, that's a really cool thing. So I talked to my dad about getting an electric bass. I was only 13, so he thought that was a cool idea. He loved the bass, so I think somewhere subliminally there was something going on there. And anyway, we went to a little music shop, local mom and pop music shop in the town I grew up, which is out in Long Island. And we found a bass and bought it. And I knew nothing about it, so I bought a right-handed bass. I'm left-handed, and I learned to play it upside down. So there you have it. And I had a lot of fun with it all through school, never once thinking it was going to be my career. Just enjoying it. I played in several bands in my junior high school and high school period of time. And then I sort of dropped it when I went to college. And then I was in college for like one semester, and I ran into an old friend of mine who said his cousin was auditioning bass players for some local gigs and professionally in a bar. And said, do you want to audition? And I thought, well, that'd be kind of fun. You know, it's, again, still not thinking about it as a career, more of a fun thing to do. So I auditioned and I got the gig, which that even surprised me because I figured I'd been playing in a while. I probably won't get the gig, but I got it. And these guys were older than me. They were at least like 9 years older than I was, which, you know, when you're 18, that's a big difference, you know. When you're 18 and you're looking at a guy that's 28, you know, you think, wow, that guy's old. Anyway, I got to play like 5 sets a night for 7 nights a week with this group in these taverns and nightclubs all over Long Island. And it became harder and harder to get to class in the morning because I'd be up all hours of the night. And so after one semester of college, I just thought I'd give this its full attention, and I left school and pursued being a professional musician. That was 1970. Well, you know, from my experience, the biggest and most helpful of all things was just finding ways to self-motivate and to practice. It really wasn't a hard thing for me. Once I got involved on a professional level, and I was playing with older musicians that already were like experienced and also, you know, high quality musicians living in New York. That gave me some vision as to, you know, what this entails, being a professional musician. I could see that they were studying, they were practicing, they were playing at a high level. And, you know, for me it was like the optimum situation because I was playing with musicians that were better than me. So then my level started inching up towards their level, and I was, you know, a younger guy, but I was seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. I could see what needed to be done to get my level up there and beyond, you know. So I was motivated by the musicians that were around me, and I was also self-motivated because of that as well. And I really wanted to give this a good, honest shot. You know, I wanted to really, you know, put my energy behind it and see if I could do something, you know. And I loved music, and you know, living in New York, even when I was in junior high school and high school, I went to a lot of concerts. There was a lot of places, great places, the Fillmore East. There was a place on Long Island called the Action House, which I saw a lot of great stuff there. There was the Academy of Music, which also had a lot of great concerts. There was Soho, so you had the Village Vanguard, you had the Village Gate, you know, Folk City, you had the Bitter End. You know, I mean, it's quite a eclectic kind of scene, you know, and kind of a cultural melting pot too. So there was, you know, there was also Lincoln Center, you know, Madison Square Garden. So I was going to all these venues and seeing, you know, everything from classical concertos to, you know, Freddie Hubbard, to Jimi Hendrix, to Joni Mitchell, you know. So it's quite a variety of stuff going on, and all of it was extremely inspiring to see, especially Jimi Hendrix. I saw him 5 times, and that was always a magical experience. So, you know, all that coupled with the fact that my family loved music, and there was always a lot of music in my house. So I had my older brother, who's 10 years older than me, listening to everything from Prokofiev to Dave Brubeck and Thelonious Monk and Charlie Parker and Miles Davis and John Coltrane. And then I had my dad, who loved music, who was listening to everything from Tito Puente to the Count Basie Orchestra to even like Mantovani and like Stan Kenton, and then there was an aunt that was living with us that was my mom's sister, younger sister, and she was into like all this really sappy stuff, but I got something out of that too. I mean, Jerry Vale and Johnny Mathis, you know, stuff like that was coming out of her room. So, you know, and then it was all the stuff from my peers, you know, everything from Jimi Hendrix to Joni Mitchell, you know, Led Zeppelin, Yes, Frank Zappa, you know, Allman Brothers. I mean, it was, and I was seeing all this stuff live in concert as well. So, because New York was you know, a big stop for all the artists. So, you know, I was really lucky. I was in like kind of the right place at the right time during this very, I guess it was kind of a renaissance. That's what I think of when I think of the 1960s, between jazz and rock and folk music and everything else you can imagine. There was a pretty heavy renaissance going on. And then Long Island, where I grew up was very active musically. It was a ton of nightclubs. Live music was everywhere. There was a lot of artists that came out of Long Island, like Billy Joel and Leslie West. And, you know, so Mountain came out of there. And, you know, Billy Joel had a group called the Hassles, who I used to see all the time. They were really great. And I saw the Vanilla Fudge a bunch of times out there. So, you know, it was just an incredible time, and it also added to the whole motivational part of, you know, what helped me to become the musician that I am today.